Hello, my name is Anna. I'm a digital fantasy artist, and today I'll be talking about a really sensitive topic. Sometimes I just want to give up on digital art, and we really need to talk about this in the digital art community. Just wanting to quit. Just to give a brief introduction, I've recently been challenging myself a lot with my new pieces and compositions, and I've been struggling so much. Literally, I started to paint a city landscape for the first time, and I wanted to give up every single 2 seconds. And I feel like in the digital art community, we see so many tutorials and so many people talking about how to do specific things, but we don't talk about the intense feeling of just wanting to drop whatever you're painting and just be done with it and tell yourself you just can't do it. For example, I've painted a piece with 3 people that I just wanted to give up every single time I posted the speed paint in my channel if you want to watch. I really wanted to give up in this piece because I just couldn't find the right perspective, and just painting an animal as the center of an image was so challenging for me. I really just wanted to give up. And I've been struggling with another piece that I've been trying to make a dust jacket sample for my commissions, and it's such a big piece with a city landscape, and I was just every single day I just looked at it and I'm like, is this even going to work? Because I can't see it working. And sometimes I just have a really good idea and a feeling around the piece, and I just always think I can't do it. And today I just want to talk about this feeling and how we can manage it. The first thing that I wanted to talk around this topic is the fact that we're actually going against our own head. Because digital art is something that we spend so much time doing alone. Like, if you're not working in a game studio, and sometimes you are working in a game studio, but you work remote, we spend so much time inside our own heads and just inside of our painting that it's really hard to not literally go insane while painting, because you need to be there for yourself constantly. And we spend hours and hours just doing it alone, and we most of the times don't have someone to tell us to keep going or tell us that it looks good. We're just doing it by ourselves. And I feel like this is really specific with digital art, because we need to be inside a room with computers, and it sometimes just drives me crazy. But the point that I want to bring is, if you don't think you can do it, how will you get anything done? Because the first thing that we need to think about when doing literally anything, just getting out of bed, we need to believe that we are capable of doing this. So it's really important that we recognize the feeling of thinking that we can't do it, because it literally paralyzes us and makes us be afraid of keep going, and making us be afraid of literally starting anything, because we just believe that we can't do it. And that's why in all my videos I emphasize a lot on the point of view having to be your best friend. Because even if you're not working with art, digital art and art in general are so hard to get better at. It requires so much discipline, it requires so much time, that you just really need to be there for yourself and have a good relation with yourself and your art, because then you won't literally be able to conclude anything, and the feeling of wanting to give up is just going to get worse. In this part of the video, I am just going to talk about all the stages that I feel like giving up and how I deal with which one. So sometimes I literally just want to give up when I'm doing a hard project. If it's not in my comfort zone, like portraits, I want to give up in every single stage. So I'm just going to tell you guys every single stage and how I deal with not giving up in this certain painting stage. So the first stage that I feel like giving up is the sketch phase. And if you want to give up in the sketch phase, comment down below, because I feel like this is a common factor for a lot of people. Sometimes I have a really great painting idea and I start sketching it, and I get so disappointed that it doesn't look like what it was in my head, that I want to give up. And I didn't even give my sketch a chance of working out because I literally just make a rough outline and I'm like, oh my god, this looks so bad. My idea is so bad, and I just literally quit. I'm just laughing alone here because it's so funny, I swear. And it's not that I want to give up in every single sketching phase. It's that most of the times I already feel like giving up in the sketch phase. This is just too sad. Oh my god. But how do I deal with it? Because if I always gave up on the sketch phase, I wouldn't have concluded, I think, 35 paintings. Like, I've made 35 paintings in 6 months. Like, all the paintings that I've done until now from 2024, 35. So imagine if you gave up all the time, you wouldn't have concluded 35 paintings. Think about the paintings you're losing by giving up on the sketch. That's what I want to say. But how I get over not giving up in the sketch? First, I take some time away. And sometimes this helps because I keep like thinking about the idea and thinking of different forms of representing it. But if taking time away is just making you more frustrated, I want you to literally sketch down every single possible idea that like came to your head. Thumbnailing really helps me. So try not to be judgmental of your thumbnails because of course they're going to look bad. They are literally just mini sketches. But try to thumbnail down every single composition idea, look for composition references. If you aren't sure about the gestures, do some gesture studies before sketching and focus on what you don't like about your sketch. Like, it's really important to not like your sketch because then you can already see the possible mistakes that you're going to have to deal with in the painting stage. So if you're feeling like giving up on the sketch, take some time away from it, thumbnail every single idea that comes to your head, and do some studies and try to fix whatever you don't like about your thumbnails. Then try to go to a more finalized sketch. The second stage that I already feel like giving up is the color stage. And I always do a color thumbnail before starting my paintings because I feel like it helps me a lot with like setting down the mood and getting the characters to work right together. So sometimes I try to do a color thumbnail and it just looks so bad and so unappealing that I just want to give up. And sometimes I'm going to try every single different color variation I can think of, and it still doesn't look right because the colors mix with the values, and it just, oh my god, it just drives me insane, and I just want to give up. My fix for this stage is for you to go to a site to generate a palette for you, so then you won't have to think about colors that work together, and you can challenge yourself by using only the colors that the palette gives you. So it's really good because you don't have to think about the colors and you're always going to get colors that work well together. So this is my fix if you always feel like giving up in the coloring stage. Another stage that I always feel like giving up, and I actually don't do it, it's the line art. If you are a line art artist and you do line art in your art, I literally worship you because I have no idea how you do it. I suck so hard at line art. It's literally sad. So I have no fix for wanting to give up in the line art. Like, I know there's some plugins that you can put in the Photoshop, and it helps with like to stabilize your hand while you draw, and that can help in the line art stage. But I literally don't do line art. I just make a kind of good sketch. I won't say amazing, just okay sketch. And I just roll with it because the line art isn't going to show in my painting, so I'm not going to spend any time with it. But this is actually just an excuse so I never have to learn how to paint with line art. Ooh. Anyways, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Give up in the line art. That's what I have to tell you. And the other stage that I always feel like giving up is the base coloring. And why do I feel like giving up? Because it literally, after you start putting down the base colors, you start seeing how your painting is going to look like. And when I do base colors, I already think about the shadows and the light, and I think about the rendering. So I start seeing how my painting is going to form itself. And after putting the base colors, I'm literally like, oh my God, this looks so bad. And I get so discouraged, because even when my sketch is good and my coloring is good, I start putting the base colors and I'm like, I don't like this. This looks bad. And I try to fix it with like multiply layers and color dodge and everything, and it just makes the painting so ugly, and I just want to give up. And my fix for wanting to give up in the base coloring stage is to have references. And like, imagine that you've got like 10 references for a painting. I want you to get more. Like, look at your painting in the base color and look at it exactly where you don't like it, and try to find references that answer the question of where you don't like your painting at. Because the sooner you answer these questions and help you visualize how the final image is going to look, the better the image is going to look, you know? And then the stage, our most beloved stage, the stage where I literally worshipped anyone who could get to it, the rendering stage. This stage is not as hard as I thought, because after you got the base colors down, it's just cleaning the image. Like, rendering is actually cleaning the image, but it takes so long. It takes so long. And sometimes I get really anxious about my painting and thinking about everything I need to render. And it just feels impossible to get it done. Like, I don't really feel that with portraits, but for example, the painting that you see in the speed paint, it has so many little elements that I literally get like, I feel so anxious looking at it, because I'm like, oh my God, how the heck am I going to render every single thing? And I feel like this is not spoken enough of in the digital art community. Because we just see these amazing artists and they are just like grinding it out, like spending hours rendering it. And I never see anyone like talking about feeling the anxiety and the fear that rendering a big piece makes me feel, you know? So I just want to tell you guys that we aren't like superheroes, we aren't magic, we're just digital artists trying to learn, and we get really afraid of the amount of elements that we need to render, and it just literally gives me panic attacks, because I'm like, I'm never going to get this done. But the way I fix this is to take deep breaths, and I think about why I'm doing this. And sometimes I'm just really sad about the painting, and I'm like, it doesn't look like I wanted it to, and I thought it would look better, but it doesn't, and I thought I was better, but I'm not. So I want you to just sit with this feeling and tell yourself that with every single painting, you're going to get better. And it doesn't matter if it's not the whole painting, it doesn't matter if it's not tomorrow, you're going to get to the skill level that you want. But you need to keep facing your fears, and you need to keep getting the paintings done. Even if you don't like them, go with it to the end. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And whenever I get way too anxious about every single element that I need to render, I make really small goals every single day, depending on how I'm feeling about the painting. So, for example, if I am having a really bad day, I'm going to tell myself to only focus on rendering her eyes. So it doesn't matter how many elements the painting has, I'm going to spend the whole day only rendering and detailing eyes, because I'm going to think this is easier. Like, I'm going to trick myself into thinking that it's easier than painting a whole full painting. So every single day, I'm just going to set down small goals for myself, and eventually I'll get the painting done, and it's going to look really good, because I'll have deeply rendered every single element without worrying so much about the whole picture. And of course, it's important for you to think that if the elements are working together, so zoom out and look, but don't stop yourself only because you feel overwhelmed about the amount of elements you have in the painting. It's actually really good that you're challenging yourself and putting lots of elements on your painting. So just roll with it and try to do one step at a time so you don't feel so overwhelmed. And sometimes I hit a step that I cannot figure out for the life of myself. Like, I literally, for example, water. I have so many difficulties with painting water. So I might take a whole day only to research and study water before I go back to my painting, so I can fix the mistake. And catching the mistakes that, like the hard times that you're having in your painting, it can help you remember what you need to study more, you know. But the first 30% of your painting is the most important step. And even if it doesn't look this good, the rendering isn't going to save your painting, you know? So you need to always focus on pushing through the ugly phase and making your best base ever, so the rendering can run smoothly and just like you can just clean the image out. And these are all the stages. Tell me in the comments if it helped you. I know it's a really common feeling, just wanting to give up. And it's hard, guys. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we feel like giving up. And I think it can be a defense mechanism. Like, sometimes we put too much expectation in ourselves and in our art. And for us to not get disappointed, we decide to not try at all. And it doesn't help, because you're just going to be more scared to finish anything in your life. But remember that wanting to give up can be your body trying to protect you and protect your possible disappointment by failing the task. So this is one of the reasons that I feel like we want to give up. And of course, the most important and biggest reason is that we believe that we can't do it. And something that really helps me fixing these mistakes, this feeling of thinking that I can't do it, is to do something that I thought I couldn't do it and actually do it. For example, get something that isn't art related, like baking a cake, and you're going to think, oh, I can't do it. Like something that you think it's hard. And then do it. And even if it's really hard, like you burn the cake or something, you're just going to prove to yourself that you can at least try and you can get things done. And this is just going to help you in your art, because you're going to have a bigger and better self-belief that you can do things, and you're going to start trusting yourself more. So when you face a hard challenge, like for example, if you have a hard time painting trees, you're going to have an easier time being there for yourself and telling yourself that you can do it, and if you can't, you at least tried. Self-confidence and resistance don't just come naturally. Like, you need to keep showing up for yourself, and you need to avoid the feeling of giving up, even when you literally just want to lay down and prove to yourself that you can't do it, but you really need to push through and finish the tasks so you can get better and make new mistakes and not the mistakes that you were making before. And remember, your goal shouldn't be to be the next Da Vinci or a really famous painter, because then you will always disappoint yourself. Your goal should be to at least finish the paintings that you started. And if you hate them in the end, at least be proud that you did it for yourself. And that's it, guys. I really hope this video helped you. Please comment down below to tell me about if you do feel like giving up sometimes. And this is the week's painting. I had such a hard time, as you guys knew. I wanted to give up every single time. But look, I'm so proud that I didn't. I really enjoyed making this piece. It was great. Even when I wanted to give up, I'm still proud of myself that I finished it. I think the horse looks really cool. So please comment down below if you liked it as well. And yeah, remember that my commissions are open. This would be $160 commission. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.